Hello, I'm Phantom Mitchell, and today we explore a case that is as perplexing as it is chilling: the disturbing disappearance of Tommy Brailey in 2017, a man who seemingly vanished into thin air, leaving behind more questions than answers. His case is filled with bizarre clues, eerie coincidences, and an unsettling lack of resolution. What really happened to Tommy? And why does his disappearance continue to haunt those who knew him? Let's piece together the mystery, step by step, as we dive deep into one of the strangest missing person cases of recent years. August 24, 2017, started like any other day for 52-year-old Tommy Lee Brailey. Living in Lee County, South Carolina, Tommy was known for his friendly demeanor and easygoing nature. He worked as an independent contractor, often taking jobs in and around Sumner. That morning, he left home around 8 a.m., grabbing coffee from a local gas station before heading to a nearby construction site. And why does his disappearance continue to haunt those who knew him? Let's piece together the mystery, step by step, as we dive deep into one of the strangest missing person cases of recent years. As the sun set on August 24th, Tommy finished his work and returned home around 6:30 p.m. His neighbors later reported seeing him outside, leaning against his car, staring off into the distance. One even joked, "Long day, Tommy," to which he just nodded, his usual smile absent. At 7:15 p.m., he received a text from a friend, inviting him to Brewer's Bar and Grill in Sumter for a casual night out. Tommy rarely turned down social gatherings, so he agreed, leaving his house around 8 p.m. His security camera captured him locking the door, but oddly, he hesitated before walking away, glancing over his shoulder twice. Was he just being cautious, or did he feel something was off? At the bar, everything seemed normal at first. Tommy was engaged in conversations, laughed at jokes, and even picked up a round of drinks. But then, something changed. Around 11 p.m., his mood seemed to shift. One friend described him as suddenly restless, checking his phone repeatedly and glancing towards the entrance. "You okay?" someone asked. Tommy just nodded and said, "Yeah, just thinking about something." At 11:50 p.m., he stood up abruptly, told his friends he had to go, and walked out the door alone. That would be the last confirmed sighting of Tommy Brailey. When Tommy's family woke up the next morning, they weren't initially alarmed. He often stayed out late with friends, but by noon, when he hadn't called or returned home, worrying crept in. His sister, Ramona, tried his phone, straight to voicemail. That was unusual. Tommy always kept his phone charged. She called a few of his friends, but no one had seen or heard from him since he left Brewers. Growing uneasy, Ramona decided to check his usual spots. She drove past his house. His car wasn't in the driveway. She went to Brewers. The parking lot was empty. Then, a strange detail emerged. A bartender mentioned seeing Tommy leave, but when she glanced outside minutes later, she never saw his car pull out. It was as if he had disappeared before even reaching his vehicle. Now fully alarmed, Ramona contacted the police. A missing person report was filed, and within hours, an official search began. Police began their investigation by retracing Tommy's last known steps. Surveillance footage from Brewers showed him walking out of the bar at 11:50 p.m., heading toward the parking lot. But here's where things got strange. No camera captured him getting into his car. The vehicle, a silver 2004 BMW 325i, should have been visible in the footage. Yet, in every angle available, Tommy simply walked out of frame and never reappeared. Did he leave on foot? Did someone pick him up? If so, why had no one at the bar noticed? Even stranger, there were no signs of struggle, no reports of shouting, no security footage of an altercation. It was as if he had simply vanished into thin air. Detectives expanded their search, checking traffic cameras along potential routes he could have taken home. But despite scanning hours of footage, Tommy's car was nowhere to be found. The questions were piling up, and the answers were nowhere in sight. As police worked to find clues, Tommy's sister, Ramona, made a chilling discovery. Checking her call log, she realized that Tommy had attempted to call her at 12:07 a.m., just 17 minutes after he was last seen. The call lasted only 2 seconds before disconnecting. Ramona hadn't heard the phone ring and assumed it was a mistake. But when she tried calling back, it went straight to voicemail. Was Tommy in trouble? Did he try to call for help? Investigators traced the call and found something even more disturbing. It had pinged off a cell tower located 15 miles away from Brewers, in a remote, wooded area outside of Sumter. This meant Tommy, or at least his phone, had traveled far from the bar in an impossibly short time. How had he gotten there so quickly, and why would he be in such an isolated area in the middle of the night? Search teams were immediately dispatched to the location, but what they found only deepened the mystery. At 3 p.m. on August 25th, search teams arrived at the wooded area where Tommy's phone last pinged. It was a desolate stretch of land with no homes, no streetlights, and no obvious reason for Tommy to have been there. After hours of searching, they found something unsettling: a single shoe, later confirmed to belong to Tommy, lying near a dirt path. It was placed strangely, as if it had been deliberately set down rather than lost in a struggle. But there was no sign of Tommy, no blood, no evidence of foul play, just the shoe. Stranger still, there were no footprints leading to or away from the area, as if it had simply materialized there. Investigators expanded their search radius, but as night fell, they were forced to suspend efforts. Tommy's car was still missing, his phone was off the grid, and now, all they had was a shoe left in the middle of nowhere. The case was no longer just a missing person investigation, it was something far more disturbing. Just as investigators puzzled over the lone shoe, another baffling clue surfaced. On the morning of August 26th, a farmer on the outskirts of Clarendon County, nearly 30 miles from where Tommy was last seen, reported an abandoned vehicle on his property. It was partially hidden behind a line of trees, as if someone had intentionally tried to conceal it. When police arrived, they confirmed it was Tommy's silver BMW. The car was locked, and the keys were missing. Inside, officers found Tommy's wallet, containing cash and his ID, an odd detail, as robberies usually involve theft. Even stranger, his cell phone was nowhere to be found, despite its last known ping being miles away in the opposite direction. The car's battery was completely drained, yet there was no mechanical failure. It was as if the car had been driven to that location and left running until it died. But why, and how had it gotten so far from Sumter when Tommy himself was nowhere to be seen? A forensic team processed the BMW for evidence, and while the interior was mostly clean, one troubling detail emerged: a small smear of blood on the back seat. The amount wasn't substantial, but it was enough to raise alarms. A DNA test later confirmed it was Tommy's, but here's where things got weirder. There was no sign of a struggle inside the vehicle, no other significant stains, and no forced entry. It was as if Tommy had been injured elsewhere, then either placed in or entered the back seat willingly. But why would he be in the back seat of his own car? Did he have a passenger, or was someone else driving? The unsettling possibilities sent a chill through investigators. As they pieced together the timeline, one fact became clear: someone else had to be involved. 3 days after Tommy's disappearance, a woman named Linda Marsh contacted police with information she had initially dismissed as unimportant. She had been driving home late on August 24th, around 12:30 a.m., on a remote stretch of Highway 261, about 10 minutes outside of Sumter. She noticed something unusual: a man standing beside a silver BMW, hazard lights flashing. She assumed it was a stranded driver and slowed down, but as she passed, she felt something was off. The man didn't appear to be trying to flag anyone down. Instead, He was standing unnaturally still, almost as if he were waiting for something or someone. She couldn't see his face clearly, but something about his posture gave her a bad feeling. The next day, when she heard about Tommy's disappearance, she wondered if it could have been him. But if it was, why hadn't he sought help? And more importantly, if he was alone then, where did he go after that moment? Then came a development that defied logic. Phone records showed that Tommy's number made another outgoing call on August 27th, 3 days after he vanished. The call was placed at 4:46 a.m., but it lasted only 1 second before disconnecting. Stranger still, the number it attempted to reach was a landline belonging to an out-of-service business in Charleston, nearly 100 miles away. There was no record of Tommy ever having any connection to that location. Investigators tried calling the number back, but it was inactive. How did Tommy's phone make a call days after he was last seen? Was he still alive, or had someone else been using his phone? The questions were spiraling, and the answers seemed further away than ever. Investigators expanded their search, hoping to find more footage of Tommy's car between Sumter and Clarendon County. They requested surveillance from nearby gas stations, intersections, and businesses. At first, it seemed promising. A gas station on Highway 15 had a camera pointed toward the road where Tommy's car would have passed. But when officers reviewed the footage, they hit a bizarre roadblock. The recording from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. on August 25th was missing. Not corrupted, not erased, just gone. The gas station manager insisted the cameras had been working properly. Yet, for reasons no one could explain, the crucial hours where Tommy's car might have been seen were simply unavailable. This was more than just a technical glitch, it felt intentional. Someone didn't want those hours to be seen. As days turned into weeks, Tommy's family refused to give up hope. Then, something eerie happened. On September 5th, nearly 2 weeks after his disappearance, Ramona received a text message from Tommy's number. It contained only one word: cold, shaking. She immediately tried calling back. The phone was off. Police traced the message, but like the previous call on August 27th, it pinged from a tower miles away, this time near a stretch of highway leading out of the state. If Tommy had sent it himself, was he trying to say he was in danger? That he was cold? Or was there a deeper meaning? And if he hadn't sent it, who had? On September 10th, a hunter walking through the same wooded area where Tommy's shoe had been found reported something unsettling. About a mile deeper into the forest, he spotted a figure, tall, thin, dressed in dark clothing. At first, he thought it was another hunter, but something felt wrong. The man wasn't moving, just standing between the trees, staring. The hunter called out, asking if he was lost. No response. He stepped closer, and just as he did, the figure turned and vanished into the brush. Spooked, the hunter left immediately. Later, when he heard about Tommy's case, he contacted authorities. Was it possible Tommy was still alive, hiding out there? Or was this someone else connected to his disappearance? Just as the case seemed to stall, a new witness came forward. A truck driver passing through Sumter on the night of August 24th claimed to have seen something unusual near the Brewers Bar parking lot. At around 11:45 p.m., he noticed a dark-colored SUV idling with its lights off. He remembered it because, as he drove by, someone inside quickly turned their headlights on and pulled away. The witness didn't think much of it at the time, but when he later heard about Tommy's case, he wondered, was someone watching him that night? Could this vehicle be linked to his disappearance? By late September, the case had hit a dead end. Tommy's family was desperate for answers, but with no new leads, police were running out of options. Then, a final, chilling discovery was made. A couple hiking in a remote area near Lake Marion found a set of clothes tangled in the underbrush: jeans, a t-shirt, and a jacket. They looked weathered, as if they had been outside for weeks. Inside the jacket pocket was a crumpled receipt from Brewer's Bar, dated August 24th. The clothes were confirmed to be Tommy's, but there was one last mystery. Folded neatly inside the jeans was a $100 bill and a small, handwritten note. 3 words, "Not yours yet." Speculation surrounding Tommy's case exploded. Some believed he had staged his disappearance, but why would he leave behind his wallet and keys? Others thought he had fallen victim to a random crime, yet no evidence of robbery or struggle was found. A chilling theory suggested that Tommy had uncovered something or someone he shouldn't have that night at the bar. Was the dark SUV involved? Did someone lure him away? And what did the note in his clothes mean? No theory fit perfectly, but one thing was clear: this wasn't a simple case of someone just walking away. Years passed, and Tommy's case grew colder. His phone was never turned on again, and no one came forward with definitive answers. But the most unsettling part, the eerie silence surrounding it. No confirmed sightings, no ransom demands, no trace of a man who, by all accounts, had no reason to vanish. His family still holds on to hope, but the deeper you look, the stranger it all becomes. If Tommy Brailey is still out there, why hasn't he reached out? And if he isn't, who knew enough to make him disappear so completely? To this day, Tommy Brailey has never been found. His car, his phone, his last known movements all remain a puzzle with no clear solution. Was he taken? Did he run? And what did that final message mean? Some believe he met with foul play. Others think he might still be out there, somewhere. But one thing is certain: his disappearance wasn't ordinary. It was something far more unsettling. And until the truth comes to light, Tommy Brailey's case will remain one of the most disturbing unsolved mysteries in recent history.